Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know what that sound means. I'm in the paddock F1. Greeny and the cheese. Round 17 sees the F1 circus head to the land of fire and the city of winds. That's right, folks. We're on the banks of the Caspian Sea. We're back in Baku. It's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku is the largest city on the Caspian Sea. Did you know this, Michael? 2.4 million people.
That I knew. We learned that as we now are in our, seventh time here in Baku. Yes. Learn.
And as always, when you take a visit to Baku, you got to go party it up at the many nightclubs, baby. Cue that sandstorm. Let's shake our moneymakers, boys and girls. Come on, Michael. You know that.
You got to shake your moneymaker when you're a kid.
As always,
what your mama gave you.
And as always, you can experience the tea culture of Baku. Send this man one of them strong cups of tea. Heck yeah.
Jam.
Cheers.
That's your jam.
And of course, no trip to Baku is complete unless you take that visit. That's right. The Rug Museum. That's right. Let's check out some rugs. Let's take a ride on a magic carpet, baby. Let's do it. I know I'm probably high enough for...
Wonder of the world of rugs. Serious business in Azerbaijan.
As medicated as I am right now, I could probably go for a ride on a magic carpet.
That magic carpet might be going on its own. Might be taking you somewhere with Greentopia today.
This ain't no travel show. This is an F1 show. And we're racing the Baku street circuit. 3.72 miles, 20 corners, through the old town and past the modern skyscrapers, 2 DRS zones. You give it the full beans for 64% of your lap. And let's just say it right off the air. What an epic battle at the front. 30-plus laps. High quality, high concentration driving. Late crash. Shake things up a little bit, but I'll take that shake up, boys and girls. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that money. I'll take that money. We'll talk about that later. But Piastri takes the win. His second in Formula One. Leclerc second. Russell third. We're caffeinated. We're medicated. Greeny. Good afternoon, sir.
The whole thing was ridiculous at the end. Are you kidding me? Look, the only way Sergio can make a headline is now if he smashes his car out. You think the guy's going to be on podium. You think he's going to be in a position to put himself on podium. And that happens. I did not get a good look at the replay as we're coming on here not that long after the race. In the paddock F1, Greeny and the cheese. Yeah. I don't know whose fault it was. We'll get to that in a moment. But can you give it up for Oscar Piastri? Can you give it up for Oscar Piastri? I mean, this guy has put himself on the map right now. Right here, right now. He's not an up-and-coming driver. He's here. He's here. Yeah. And a day like today, did you see a single lockup all day from Oscar Piastri?
Nor Leclerc. That was just high quality driving from the top from the 1-2 for so long in that race. 30 plus laps within like a half a second pretty much every lap. That was just that's what you want. That was just high quality racing. Can't take anything away from Piastri, and you can't take anything away from him at all. You could have said something about Hungary with them swapping positions there, but he won this race. And that's what you want to do as a racing car driver. You want to win a race, and he won that race.
Yeah, he won that race. He took control of the race, and, even if, forget about the beginning of the race, the first half, but you go back to the last 4 or 5 laps, and as he pulled away, as it looked like we had a real 3-4 horse race going down the stretch here, Oscar put himself in a position to just pull away from the rest of the pack, left the last 3 behind, and ended up coming in first, and not by a small margin, but obviously that excitement, that real excitement to not know who was going to win. It could have been George Russell, it could have been Carlos Sainz, it could have been like anyone coming down the stretch. It could have been Sergio Perez with 5 to 6 laps to go. You know, we're talking about tire dag. You're talking about all the different stuff that could have happened and could have affected the end of the race there and pit stop strategies. As we spoke about, you know, it's just exciting. It's exciting to know that whoever's on pole is not guaranteed top of the podium anymore. Not even close. And we saw it again here with Charles Leclerc. Unfortunately for you Ferrari fans, you still get podium. And extremely unfortunate, it's a crash out with a lap and a half left. You can't predict it. We raced here 7 times, 6 different winners in 7 races. Is that right here at Baku? So always a wild time. Or 7 and 8. I'm sorry, 8th race here. So first time McLaren's ever won in Baku. First time a team besides Red Bull or Mercedes have taken first here at Baku, and super exciting, man. I mean, F1 is back. We keep saying it over and over again, but this is the way we want to see racing going, and I don't know if it's going to continue past this season. Maybe, but who the hell knows? Who the hell knows, man? We got a great race today. Give it up for
Who cares about next year? We got this year.
Who cares? We got 7 races to go. Super exciting. I know we were talking pre-race that we definitely got the B crew rolling out, at least for our broadcast here in the U.S. That was definitely, I don't know where everyone was. Maybe they were already hanging out in Singapore. Maybe they all took the week off as the back-to-back weeks here. But a B crew, but an A-plus day for Oscar Piastri. And you got to give it up to Lando Norris as well, coming from all the way in the back to sneak in a shady 4th. It was the shadiest 4th I've seen.
They'll take it.
But
McLaren will take it.
It's once again a McLaren weekend. And oh yes, up-to-date stats. I don't even know if it's updated yet on the websites, but McLaren is the top dog now, is number 1 in the constructors. And Ferrari is not that far behind as well. A Carlos Sainz point today would have helped for sure, because you're not straight up battling Red Bull anymore as well. You're also battling McLaren. So, but man, 3 teams, 7 races to go. I don't know who's going to win the constructors. I think it's going to be McLaren. McLaren's at 476, Red Bull 456. Wow,
and
20.
Ferrari's at 420, and Ferrari's at 425.
So you got 50 points separating first and third. Yeah. I cannot remember since 2012 us being in that situation. Yeah. So it is awesome. Awesome. Get pumped. Get excited, especially if you're a McLaren fan. Congratulations to those McLaren fans out there. Finally back on top again. It's been a long time, and even when the last time you were on top, it was briefly. I'm sure you probably have a question about that in your Quizmaster's cockpit, but it's been a damn long time since McLaren has been even sniffed the top. It's been over a decade, and well before that since they've been at the top in this situation. So good for them. Good for Ferrari as well. Charles Leclerc coming in second, even though Carlos Sainz blew it. And a shit weekend for Red Bull. Yeah. I would say we don't get to say that very often. But
if beginning of the year, or even after China this year, if somebody would have told you that one of the other teams was going to, finish in front of Red Bull in the constructors, you would have laughed. Or you would have said it was going to take, monumental, like a Boski, a Jim Brown, Miss Daisy, 2 Jethros, a Leon Spinks, and, the biggest Ella Fitzgerald ever. To be Red Bull, probably after China.
Where'd you pull that one from?
That's from a little bit of a line from a movie. It's from Ocean's 11, son.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That's a great line.
That's a great line.
But if somebody would have told you that, you would have laughed and said, "Yeah, right, all right, it's going to take like all these people to pull that crap off." But no, Red Bull's their car, as Max has said, has become a monster. They can't get the balance. They brought a new floor this weekend, a modified floor that looked good in practice, but in race trim, not so much. Except for Sergio, maybe it's the car's more going towards Sergio now. With these upgrades, but Sergio's also really, really good at Baku. Sergio's also really good at Baku. So I wouldn't take super amount out of Sergio's performance here, since he always drives well at Baku. So next week he could go crap the bed again. So
well, he's crap the bed in Singapore anyway.
But
Red Bull's not great in Singapore.
Red Bulls, and they are struggling. Even I think. Lando and Oscar both said, I think, post-race, like, yeah, we have a great car, but we also know that the Ferrari's right behind us. They didn't say Red Bull. They didn't say the Red Bull's right behind us. They said the Ferrari's the car behind us.
They're not. They're not. This is Sergio Perez's best track. If he's going to do anything, it's going to be here. So, I mean, he did for 50 out of 51 laps, race a pretty damn good race. Unfortunately.
All weekend.
Unfortunately, and I'm glad I didn't put my money down for the first time all season, maybe ever, I was actually going to put my money down, and we'll get to this a little more later, on Sergio Perez beating Max Verstappen.
Oh, I thought about it too. Oh, for damn straight, I thought about that.
And
for
because
sure.
that was a plus line on that, and we'll get to the gambling later. But I would have cried. I would have cried with that late crash if that happened on any bet. On any bet. That's brutal. That's brutal. That's a bad bet if I've ever seen one in my entire life. That's a bad bet. But I digress. With that, it really turns out that what a bonehead move, by the way, between Sergio and Carlos.
I'm going to throw it 50-50. I mean, the stewards are looking at it, but I mean, when you look at it, you got Sainz went wide into 2, or the outside in 2, so we got out into the dust a little bit. Didn't get the traction off of 2, which gave Sergio the jump there. And then Leclerc was moving around ahead, so both guys were, of course, trying to get into the slipstream. Sainz moved over a little bit. I mean, could Sergio have moved himself over a little bit to give him some room because he had all the track to his left? So, I don't know. I'm going to put it down as a racing incident, to be honest. That'd be my opinion. It's not like somebody jerked their wheel hard or something into somebody else. So, yeah, I'm going to say racing incident on that one.
Yeah, that's a bonehead move.
Sainz was also 3/4 of a head. Sergio's front tire was by his rear tire, so there's a bunch of things you could say.
There was a lot of jumbling going on before that. There was a lot of jumbling going on.
Both drivers are going to blame the other driver, so in that I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it 50-50 racing incident. Let's move on. Bad break for both guys, and that's
the Ferraris attacked. The Ferraris attacked hard, and you thought you were going to have for a moment. Everyone thought you were going to have 2 Ferraris on podium. You had like a moment there where you're like, "Oh shit, we're about to have 2 Ferraris on podium."
Yeah.
Yes, and no. Immediately, it felt surreal a little bit. It felt surreal. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But listen, speaking of boneheads, if you don't want to be a bonehead, what you're going to do right now is you're going to stop the podcast. You're going to email inthepaddock@gmail.com because we are doing an end of the year giveaway, cheese. I have authentic, vintage Formula One memorabilia that's going to go to someone, one of our listeners. I'm going to mail it anywhere in the world. I don't care the expense. You live in Antarctica. You're a penguin listening to the show. I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you. Authentic, American, classic, United States Formula One memorabilia. Is now we have 3 races in the U.S. And I think it's our job now to rep big time the fact that, 15% of all Formula One races are in the U.S. now.
Yeah.
And you add Montreal as we're like in the New York City area over here. I mean, Montreal's actually the closest, ironically, to us here.
Yeah.
It's the closest race to us, and there's 3 other races here in the U.S. So, with all of that, I think it is imperative that we represent hardcore for the U.S. Is hopefully we'll have maybe a 4th race, maybe right here in the New York City or Philadelphia area. Drive around Philly, drive around Kensington. Formula One race. That'll be fun.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Forget about the Castle Gates. For those of you who know the Philadelphia area, can
that ain't happening.
Attest to that one. All right. Are you ready, sir? Because you know what time it is.
Oh, I'm always ready.
It's time you strap on the helmet. You're gonna fire off some questions. 3 sectors, 1 lap. I got to get them all right, or it ain't even worth putting the helmet on. It's Quizmaster's Cockpit.
All right, sir. Are you ready?
I guess.
Question number 1. When was the first Grand Prix held in Baku?
2017?
That is incorrect.
18?
No.
The first any Grand Prix?
First of any Grand Prix held in
Baku.
Baku.
Hold on. Time out. All right. Was it the 2016 European Grand Prix?
That would have been the correct answer.
That's where you're going. It was a little confusing. All right, a little confusing.
I did not say the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Don't try to trick me. I'm not a straight A student here. I'm like a C- student, and you come out trying to trick me as if I'm some kind of like honor roll student. Sir, I am not that.
Well, that was the first Grand Prix held in Baku.
The first Grand Prix held in Baku was the 2016 European Championship.
I didn't say it was the European Grand Prix before the name was changed to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Did I get it right?
So you're incorrect. No, you're incorrect.
Excuse me. I corrected myself without any help.
But you gave your answer. You said 2017. And then you said 2018. And then you said 2016. Isn't your three strikes in your round per question?
No. Under protest. Under protest.
You can protest all you want. That's a fail.
Under protest.
How many drivers have multiple wins in Baku?
1.
Name them.
Crash Johnson, Sergio Perez.
That is correct. Crash Johnson. Question number 3. At its narrowest point, how wide is turns 8 and 9 in Baku?
Not very.
Not very.
Not very. I think it's like turn 8. Isn't that the tightest turn and narrowest turn in all
Formula One?
Formula One?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew that. I'm going to say...
How wide is it?
What are you looking for? Meters, feet, inches,
I'll take
centimeters?
meters. I'll take meters or feet. I did the conversion, so I got them both.
12 and a half feet.
Double it. 25
feet.
feet or 25 feet or 7.6 meters.
19 inches.
So that's incorrect.
What's amazing... Yeah, I was screwed from the beginning. Well, what's amazing is that you watch a race like Baku and you watch a race like Monaco, and Monaco just feels so much tighter. Mm-hmm. But it's not.
Well, there's sections of Baku that are like 6 lanes wide. So.
Well, yes, they're also There's also that.
So,
You also got the whole road to yourself there.
Plus, it's good. That's what happens when you go through Old Town.
Yep.
Little streets are tiny in Old Town. But you're a loser this week. So that'll take us into losers. My two losers are both, tough break kind of cases. Yuki Tsunoda, again, wrong place, wrong time, gets a hole in his side pod, has to retire early, again. The guy can't even complete a race at this point in time right now. And then, Sergio Perez had a really good weekend for himself until, the penultimate lap, and then he kissed the wall. So, ain't that a B? He's actually doing something right, but he still ended up doing it wrong. Those would be my
Danny Rick beat his teammate. At least Danny Rick beat his teammate.
That's true. That is true.
How about Nico Hulkenberg can't even beat Ollie Bearman? I'm sure we'll get to Ollie in a minute. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, come on. And there were a lot of good drives, this weekend, but that does not take away at all from the disaster that the Sauber team just still other teams are now accumulating multiple points. I mean, it's not that they're in 10th, they're so far behind 9th now. As you have Williams accumulating points, as you have other teams. Haas putting up a point today. Thank you, Ollie. The hell's going on with them? They're not even competitive anymore, and it's pretty sad, especially with, again, going back to the beginning of the season where they really sacrificed their values. Not that they have tons of values. They sacrificed their values, bringing in this whole kick gambling nonsense, this whole Ed Craven crap, bringing it on there and still being terrible. You could have got anyone. Could have got anyone to sponsor the squad. Didn't matter. It's a joke. Still 0 points. And those are my losers, sir. Which takes us into winners. And the ball's back in your court.
Oh, a bunch of those this week. Williams, double points. 7th and 8th. Colapinto, great drive. Second drive. Puts up points. Massive for Williams.
Colapinto looking wise beyond his years. He was really good. He looks so far ahead of Logan Sargent. It's like ridiculous.
Oh, it's insane.
It's ridiculous.
He's like completely embarrassing Logan Sargent.
It's really
in two races, he's finished higher than Logan Sargent ever could have possibly thought of. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. But you got to give it up to him. You got to give it to Colapinto.
That's
hardcore.
just,
give it up to him. Yeah,
absolutely. Then you got to give it up to the Bearman. 2 drives in Formula One, 2 different teams, and finishes in the points. How about that? Thank you to the crash there at the end to seal that deal, but I mean, that's insane. He's only run 2 races in the sport for 2 different teams, and he finished in the points. That makes a lot of drivers on the grid look pretty sad, too, by the way. Not going to lie.
That's crazy. That whole thing is crazy. And Ollie Bearman with 2 cars, 2 races his entire career, and gets points on vehicles that don't... I mean, yeah, Ferrari. You give it to Ferrari. They're going to score points. But Haas? Holy crap. Go Ollie.
He's going to be in that car next year.
Mm-hmm. What else you got here?
Those will be my winners.
I mean, first of all, you got to go right away to Lando Norris, who did not get enough talk, especially in our first segment here, because holy moly, man, all the way back, he was definitely not considered to be a top 6 driver today. and he ended up finishing fourth. Should have finished sixth outside of the crash, but fourth it is. And I know as well they've definitely been struggling the last couple races, but double points for Mercedes, and especially with Lewis Hamilton coming all the way back. All the way back with all of the changes they made, and ended up starting 19th or pit row, and
started from the pit lane.
Oh yeah, and it really, really was a great race, and really showed that Mercedes is still around, and these other teams are much better. The mid pack and beyond is much better. So it's a lot tougher to come from pit lane and be able to score points. But Lewis Hamilton did that, and that was great. And I mean, did Russell deserve a podium today? No, but he got one. So got to give it up to Mercedes as a whole, because they've had a roller coaster of a season, man. Roller coaster.
Yeah.
And those are my winners. Are we going to go an entire show without talking about Max Verstappen? How about that?
Well, they kind of stink right now. He was just an angry bear on the radio. Just pissing and moaning the entire race.
He's always pissing and moaning an entire race.
Yeah, true. But now it's just to another level because he's just angry.
He's pissing and moaning when he's 20 seconds up. What the hell's going to happen when he's no chance of podium? This is Red Bull's worst race of the season. It's Red Bull's worst race of the season.
Yeah, cool. We'll see what happens next week, because they're not usually good in Singapore either.
But they're terrible. That's their worst race of the entire season.
So they could have two of them back to back here.
I mean,
they could go from being first in the constructors to like 60 points behind in two races.
If McLaren and Ferrari occupy the top 5 spots, those 4 cars occupy the top 5 spots, and Red Bull is not in the top 5, it's going to be a massive change. It's going to be a massive
100%.
Change, and Ferrari's going to tighten it up a lot. McLaren could be on their way to just sealing up the constructors starting next week if they can finish 1-2, which McLaren drives. It's one of their best tracks before they started bringing it up and turning the heat up. I can only imagine what
it'll probably be the same battle as this week between Ferrari and McLaren, because the Ferrari's always good in Singapore, so it's probably going to be a battle between those two again. But as the drivers have even stated, those are the 2 best cars in the grid, so you'd probably expect those 2 teams to be going at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the way Williams is driving too, you got Ferrari, McLaren, and Williams bringing up. Starting to heat up here.
Right.
Feels like we're back in like the late 90s all over again, man. Holy moly. All right, man. So, of course, it leaves us with only one thing. Get your baby powder out.
I need to slap my goddamn tail for that.
We're giving that to Alpine this week. I don't know what WTF is going on around there right now. Because, one, you get Gasly disqualified from quali. Because you were having more fuel go to the engine than is allowed. Which they even said themselves, it didn't give us an advantage. It made our car slower. So that's always good. So you did something and you made your car worse. Good job. Then today, Ocon had to start from the pit lane because they changed the elements to the power unit, but didn't tell the FIA or Formula One about it. So they tried to sneak that one through the, behind the door.
Ridiculous. There's 9,000 cameras. There's 100, if not 1,000 media outlets covering these races. You think you're going to get away with something like this? This isn't go-kart racing like in the Busch leagues here where you're going to sneak something through. There's thousands of people watching just at the track itself. Just at the track itself, besides all the media and everyone else just scrutinizing everything you do. And you're going to come out and try to skirt the rules and think you're not going to get caught. That's just stupid. Slap your damn self in the face. That's just dumb. This is dumb. It's not Bush League. You're gonna get busted. Like, seriously.
That's a good one. Try to sneak one by the goalie. The goalie got you.
It's like, no, everyone's watching. I mean, I get it with, like, Haas trying to pull the fast one with Uralkali because they're in Russia and they're really like, they got other things to worry about. They're not going to chase us down, and then they chase you down. You know, like the Big Lebowski. Show with the bowling alley for you. But so I get that, which was also super shady. Like, I don't care where your creditors are from, who you owe money to. You got to pay your creditors. But yeah, man. What a joke. What a joke. But you know what time it is?
Well, I know what time it is. It's the best damn time of the week, son.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Greentopia, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes, it grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Look at it out there. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. That air smells fantastic. Let's take a little walk to the top of the hill. The casino at the top. Just like Monaco, baby. Are we cashing in or are we checking out? Well, thanks for that late crash. I'm cashing in. Thank you very much.
Saved you. I don't even know the compare. That saved you. It was like Superman as you were falling off the building, and you're like, this guy's gonna splat. And then it's just like the hero just comes out and grabs you at the last second. Like, your face is like right at the concrete. Just grabs you. You know what I'm talking about. That's what that was. Sorry, I know you were sleeping in this morning. I was up crack at dawn this morning. I was at work real early, so I watched the race half at work, half on mute. I was trying to work it the best I could. I had to rewatch it when I got home and scramble and come on and do the show really quickly. But as we're not that far past the end of the race here, want to stop tapping on your cup there?
Sorry.
Nervous over there? You shouldn't be nervous. You're rolling in the greenie bucks over here. As
living life.
We both messed up on the trifecta, though. I think we both had the same. No, you had Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is so tasty, plus 1,000. It's so hard to not look at Max plus 1,000 to win the race and not even at least try to take him or try to take him in the trifecta. But obviously that didn't happen. But you did hit with both Williams in the top 10 plus 200. Plus 200. That was a big one for you. That was definitely a big one. So you ended up putting... what'd you put on the board for that? You put $150 on the board for that. And then you had Ollie Bearman. Look at you. Taking the Bearman. Top 10. And hitting it once again. All due to your boy Carlos Sainz messing that up. That's why you weren't blaming Carlos. You want to watch the replay my ass. You don't care what happened.
I've watched the replay. I watched it. It's a 50-50.
So you got that going for you.
To be honest, I thought about putting Sergio Perez in my trifecta, and then I said no. That man's going to crash out somehow, some way today. I kind of had a feeling, so I knew something was going to happen with that car. I just had a gut feeling.
All right, so you went 2-2 in your bets, but because you were very crafty, you still picked up a couple hundred greenie bucks. So it puts you at 5,270. I put 3 bets up. Like I said, aforementioned, the Leclerc, Piastri, Carlos Sainz trifecta, which did not hit, but 2 McLarens in the top 6. I think I was about to hit that anyway. It was weird with Norris hanging in 7th and 6th there, but hit that plus 200 on the 100 greenie buck bet. which puts me plus 200 on that one. And Lando Norris top 6. All right, plus 170 on that one. So let's do a little math here, a little housekeeping here. Very nice. 6, 7, and all right. So that gives me a grand total of 3,704 greedy bucks to your 5,270 greedy bucks, giving you a nice 1,500 greedy buck lead. Better than the 2,000 greedy buck lead. So I definitely picked up about 20% on you. Still not even close to enough. It looks like you're running away, but I'm trying to hold you back here. I don't think this is a Max Verstappen, Lando Norris kind of thing, because you're still punching, as you're still winning here. But we'll see what happens down the stretch. Looks like you are about to take your second crown in 3 years. But I'm going to try to hold you off, and hopefully this goes to the wire. Again, 5,270 for you, 3,704 for me.
It won't go to the wire because the Mad Hatter will come out in the next couple races. We got Vegas coming up. The Mad Hatter's definitely coming out.
The Mad Hatter's definitely coming out for Vegas. I hope I catch up and make it close, and then the Mad Hatter comes out, and then it's over for you. It's over because I'm gonna get to try like the plus 1,500 trifecta. I'm gonna put like 300 greedy bucks down on it. You know, that's like a 5,000 greedy buck swing right there. I see it in my future. Listen, I went last week. Went to the lady who does like the horoscope thing. She didn't have great things to say, but she did say it's going to be close between you and I.
If you believe anything that came out of that woman's mouth, you need to go see somebody.
I am seeing someone. I'm paying her $100 an hour.
Because that is nothing but a swindle.
She's been very good to me. Tells me all the horrible things that happened in my life.
Yeah, go look at those crystals.
We got the crystals. We got the cards. I'll show you the cards with me. They're fascinating. You got to believe in something, man.
Not that.
Not that. All right.
Not that.
Not bad. Not that shit. All right. We got one more thing left to do, and of course,
the
as we
whole
do every
industry
week,
is a swindle for stupid people. But that only leaves one thing. It's time for In the News.
Be careful. Miss Chloe, she knows what she's talking about. All right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I don't like your attitude.
All right, well, as we stated in winners there, but Ollie Behrman is the only driver to score points in his first 2 races with 2 different teams. Are you excited for Ollie to be in the Haas next year? Is he going to be, right now, would he be the number 1 driver?
He was the number 1 driver today. That's for sure. Listen, he drove a really good race. He drove a really, really solid race. He did as best as he possibly could in that Haas. He took that Haas to the best it possibly could take all weekend long. And, just to be in a position to start 10th, just to be, competitive or somewhat competitive in quality. I was assuming he'd be in the back of the pack. He's driving a Haas. It should be 17th or so, 16th, 17th. Barely shouldn't be able to get, out of Q1. Shouldn't be competitive at all. And to score a point, especially Haas has only scored, 6 races all season out of 17? 6 or 7 times all season? They've even put any points on the board?
Yeah.
So if you're going to start with that, then you're going to look at it like, wow, Bearman comes off and is one of the few times all season that they scored points. So Very, very impressive. We'll see what happens. People get impressive, and then something happens. He's at his absolute peak physically at the moment. Adrenaline does crazy things as well. He was not scheduled until, a few weeks ago to be racing here. So see what happens when you race, 3 races in 4 weeks. And let's see what you're like. Not 2 in a year. But, yeah, gotta love what you see from Holly.
I agree. McLaren this week said they are going to prioritize Lando Norris over Oscar Piastri to get him some points to challenge Max Verstappen for the world title. Is it too late for McLaren to be making that decision now?
It's like reactive. It's reactive to stupidity, as we saw a couple weeks ago. It's reactive to a couple different situations this year where they don't want to declare Lando Norris as the number 1 for some reason. And Oscar, I don't know if he takes offense to it behind the scenes. I don't know if they feel they're just co-number 1s, but they're not. Lando Norris put himself in a position to be one of the top Formula 1 drivers in the world. He's now becoming one of the top Formula 1 drivers in the world. 2024 should be Lando Norris' season. Sorry, Oscar. I don't mean that in the worst way. And Oscar goes out and wins today. But if Lando didn't have the issues he had,
Lando didn't have the issue
Lando
with
started in the top 10, would Oscar have won today?
Yeah.
And now, as Oscar outqualified him. Put himself in a position to win, and he won.
Well, that was a whole snafu there.
But regardless, he outqualified him, and he was on the front row, and he takes home the first. But Oscar's nowhere near having the ability to win this year. And if you want to dethrone Max Verstappen, then you're gonna have to put the best foot forward and try to dethrone him. If you're just trying to go for the most points possible for each individual driver and win the constructors, then keep doing what you're doing. But at the same time, like, you can only strategize so much. Lando's going to have to go out there and win.
This decision should have been made 3 races ago. 4 races ago.
Should have been made before the season started. Who's your number 1 and who's your number 2?
Yeah.
In case you're in a situation where you need to either compete for a 1, 2, 3, whatever, however you line it up, whatever that is, you need to figure it out before the season. Unless something drastically changes. You need to know going into the season what your plan is. You can't just make it up in the season. And then to make it up with 7 races to go, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it shows a lack of leadership from McLaren, but I think it shows how they got caught off guard in the situation they're in. Bottom line. All right, what else you got?
Final story. The big kahuna of the week. As Newey joins Aston Martin. $30 million a year for 5 years. That's a lot of scunol. That's driver money right there.
That's driver money. That's premier driver money.
That's driver money.
I don't... Go ahead. Go, sorry.
I was going to say, will Aston Martin win a title with Adrian Newey?
No. Because Aston Martin is Lance Stroll. What title are they winning? They got a spoiled brat and an old man. I'm sorry. And they're not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, Fernando had a great race today. We didn't even mention him on the show. I mean, Fernando had a great race today, all around. But what did Lance Stroll do today?
He didn't finish. He had brake problems.
What did Lance Stroll? So, this is the guy who's going to win your championship. Fernando Alonso, you know what? Humans do amazing things. amazing things in this world, in the history of this world. But Father Time wins every single time. Every freaking time. And Fernando Alonso is not going to beat Father Time. It's going to catch up to him. And I know he's raced a fantastic season. He's embarrassed Lance Stroll. What is he at, like 55 points right now in the season? Lance Stroll's 25. He's more than doubled Lance Stroll's output with this points total today. I think it's officially over the double.
Yeah.
Double. The only thing double there is Lance Stroll's age to Fernando Alonso's. And he's doubling his points. Are you freaking kidding me? And you're going to be my world champion. You're going to be my champion.
My original question there was, will Adrian Newey make Lance Stroll a world champion? But I just couldn't. I couldn't say.
No,
I couldn't say.
Lance Stroll has to want it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He wants to race in Formula One, but he doesn't want to be a Formula One world champion. And probably what he does is really, really, really hard. But what a champion does is even harder than that.
Yeah.
What Max Verstappen puts in, what Lando Norris puts in, what Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, what these guys put in, what Lewis Hamilton puts in on a daily basis to be able to race, what Fernando Alonso does to his body to allow himself to get into that car on Sundays is unbelievable. Yeah. Lance Stroll just can't do that. It's just not in him. He doesn't have that drive.
Yeah.
And he has drive, but it's not to the insane level that these guys do. And
a bunch of the guys in the grid before next week will be have a stationary bike and a sauna for training for the heat of Singapore.
Mm-hmm. They usually do. They usually do before Singapore and before several of these the Middle Eastern races as well. Because it's hot. It's hot. The car is hot before that. And then
it's hot in the car. It's on its own.
It's already hot in the car. All right. We mentioned it many, many times already. But geez, where are we going next?
We're going to Singapore next week, baby. Under the lights.
Place that Red Bull does not do well. Red Bull's in the decline going into their most difficult race to their car of the season. Maybe it'll be better for them. Maybe it'll be a good reprieve. Maybe. They have no pressure. They have zero pressure going into this one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really had to feel. I think Sergio Perez felt the pressure going into this weekend. He had to. He's won the most championships, the most times at Azerbaijan, at Baku. How could he not have felt the pressure? I think that's why he crashed at the end. He was really feeling the pressure. And he really, really, really didn't want to lose that podium. I think he freaked out a little bit when he saw those two Ferraris just whiz right by him. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, he's under pressure anyway because he's had another clunker year. So
they're done. They're done. This was everything. Sergio Perez gave you everything he's got. Give you everything he's got today. That's it. He's done. He's done. Max, I don't know where Max is. I don't know where Max is, and this could be, we could be sitting here next week not even talking about Red Bull.
Yeah.
We may go an entire show with only dedicating a minute or two to Red Bull.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm okay with it.
I'm not saying okay or not okay. I'm just a matter of fact. Just stating facts. It's weird. Just weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Mercedes and Red Bull are getting a brush back to Ferrari, McLaren, and with the Adrian Newey news, a little Aston Martin.
Well, according to you, no.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's getting the news. It's getting the buzz, you know?
Yep.
All right. Say what you got to say, brother.
As always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.